Call to order the Wheeling Plan Commission meeting for Thursday, April 26, 2012. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Will the Secretary please take the roll?
Sure. Commissioner Burns. Here. Commissioner Dorban. Here. Commissioner Johnson. Here. Commissioner Fotto, I'm here. Commissioner Schaaf. Here. Commissioner Steilen. Here. And Chairman Maloney.
Here. Mr. Jennings, are there any changes to the agenda?
Just a couple of notes. There's a memo dated today that has a list of updates and responses to the staff reports on various items on the agenda tonight. You have the original packet, which has a date of April 19th on it. There's a updated agenda with the report for D'Agostino's Pizza, which is dated April 23rd. And then you have the memo listing responses to the staff report. So as each of the items is called, I'll note along this April 26th memo what is being submitted for each of the docket items.
Are there any changes to the agenda other than that?
That is it.
Okay. Consent items, there are none. Items for review is docket number SCBA 12-21, Northwest Implant Dental Spa, 109 North Milwaukee Avenue, appearance approval of a freestanding sign.
On this item, if you look at the April 26th memo, there's a revised plan that includes a darker background sign. The size of the address has been decreased in the submittal. And there's a proposal on the next page of that for a wall-mounted brushed metal sign that was submitted after the original packet went out.
Would you give your name and address into the microphone, sir?
Yeah, I'm coming from Northwest Implant Dental Spa. My name is Jeff.
Jack?
Jeff, J-E-F-F, Jeff.
And your last name?
Park, P-A-R-K.
Thank you. You may proceed.
I'm sorry again?
You can tell us what you want to do.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't understand.
Yeah, you weren't prepared. Mr. Jennings, you want to run this?
As you can see, the slide here shows the revised drawing. What Mr. Park has submitted on behalf of the Northwest Implant Dental Spa is a darker background. They're pushed through letters that would stand in front of the sign face. The address on the original submittal was vertically oriented and larger. Mr. Park has revised the sign drawing to decrease the size. The submittal with this revised sign panel also included a wall-mounted identification. Mr. Park, is this just the south side of the building?
Yeah,
only one side?
Yeah, one.
Okay.
Yeah.
The south side of the building would have non-illuminated brushed metal stud-mounted letters proposed.
Well, we'll start off with Commissioner Dorban.
Thank you. I don't really have a problem with the darker background. I do have some issues with the landscaping. Are you in a position to discuss that?
Yeah.
Okay. On the second page, it indicates that boxwood would be added, but in the picture, there are no boxwood shown. It shows
yes,
perennials and flowers, but let me finish, please. Not only are there no boxwood shown in the picture and depicted, it just shows the perennials. The indication is that there would be boxwoods. It doesn't say what kind of boxwood. It doesn't say the size of the boxwood plants. This is a rather large box that you're going to put it in. Also you need to consider things like salt tolerance, because that is close to Milwaukee Avenue. How do you plan on addressing this? It doesn't say the size containers for the Black-Eyed Susans, the catmint, the daylilies, or the Shastas or the yarrow, so it doesn't address any of those things. Then there was also a discussion in part of the packet that talked about moving some of the boxwoods to the ground. Again, we're talking about possibly salt, salt issues here. I'm not comfortable with this at all. I would like to see us table this and have them come back with a complete landscape plan with specifics on it. So that's my only questions at this point.
Thank you. Commissioner Styler. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have to erase the boxwood portion of the letters, word. First, I plan with all the boxwood, like 2 feet wide and then around 18-inch high boxwood. I plan to put it in, but later I change in mind and with all the flower. And its size will be like 18-inch high and then 18-inch wide.
But some boxwoods can be as much as 36 inches in diameter. So now are you going to cover a part of your sign? Therein lies the issue of not giving us specifics on what kind of boxwood you're going to choose, nor have you given us specifics on the kind of plantings, which is what I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I have to erase all these letters, boxwood, because I change it with the village, the planner's advice, change it to all the Panadier flower.
But we want to see a finished product. You keep changing it, and that's fine, that's your prerogative, but in the end, we have to approve it, and I want to see a finished product.
Yes, right. Yes, so I mean, I plan to, without any boxwood, and 18-inch wide and then 18-inch high, the Panadier flower all cover under the box. I mean,
You're saying taking the boxwoods out altogether?
No boxwood there.
None at all?
No.
So that means the only perennial are going to be things, that box is going to be dirt, basically, all winter, with no green in it at all.
Oh, right.
I would not approve that, but those are my only questions.
Commissioner Stylen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I had a similar concern about the boxwoods. The sign, I guess, is coming down to just above the planter box, down to about 4 foot, starting at 4 foot high. And then the base of the planter was at 2'6", which left a little bit more than a foot for any plantings, and I think that will just overgrow the sign. So I'd like to see, a little bit better description of what the plants are going to be. You mentioned that there's going to be 5 different kinds of plants, but you show 14 plants in the picture. What's going to be where? I don't know. I just think it's kind of incomplete, and kind of would agree with Pam that maybe we should see a more accurate drawing of what the planting is going to be. And I'd also like to see something around the outside of that stone planter. It's going to be 2.5 feet tall and 4 feet wide, right? So, and I don't know what the other dimension is.
9 by 4.
9. I mean, it's just going to be a big brick thing that's kind of sitting out there in the middle. I'd like to see maybe some small shrubs around the base of the planter as well. So Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Schaaf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I also share the same concerns as Commissioner Stile and Commissioner Dorban about your landscaping. I think there should be more detail. The other problem I have is the 109. It should, at the very minimum, read 109 North. It just, in where you have it positioned on the sign, it just looks like it's part of the sign that's, and it's not the address box. I would rather see it below, you know, and where usual addresses are posted there. Other than that, the sign looks fine, and your wall sign looks fine. Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner Burns.
Thank you. In addition to the aforementioned plants problem and the bushes, and the problem with what's the proper size for the planter box itself, the pipe coming out of the wall on the picture, that's the fire department connection. In case of a fire, a pumper connects a hose to that connection, and that connection is not allowed to be obstructed. So before I could approve your plan for this construction, the fire department would have to okay that what you're building is not in the way of their connection. So those are my comments, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Crash? Commissioner Burns? He had a school bus go into his house this week.
Johnson. Burns wasn't there. Well, most of it's already been said. I would probably like to see the box itself be lowered. I think 2'6" is a little high on it. Then you might have more room to play with the plantings. I hadn't noticed the fire connection. That was a good catch. I think it's all been said. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Rafato.
Just a comment about the address. Is the address going to be white, or I don't understand what is that a different color than the lettering on the Northwest Implant Dental Spa? Is that a light gray? I don't quite know what that is, because in the original submission everything was white except for the design. So I'm not. What is that? Is that?
Yeah, Northwest gonna be a little bit gray color, and then Implant Dental Spa is all white, and then like a half-inch coming out from the box.
And that's internally illuminated. And then is this going to be sprinkled on the inside? Since there was
Mario's Pizza.
Didn't we have that sprinkled in the?
In the irrigation?
No.
Irrigated? No?
It was discussed. It was never put in as a condition.
Okay. All right. I just have a concern about the numbers not being legible or readable as somebody's going by. The sign, I mean, other than that, the sign looks fine, but I agree with Commissioner Dorban. It's got, we need more detail. Unfortunately, you've come before us many times with so many different plans that we just can't trust this.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna reduce the stone size, lower the stone size, and then with the boxwood, and I'm gonna put more detailed landscaping.
Yep.
Okay, can I have a motion to table?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and tabled. Please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Dorban, seconded by Commissioner Stein. Commissioner Dorban?
Yes.
Commissioner Stein?
Voice vote is fine.
Voice vote? Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, get with, before you go too far, sit down with staff, and they can guide you so we don't keep going back and forth like we did on the building.
All right. Thank you.
Okay?
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Park, there's
Mr. Park, you have something to sign down
there's a
there.
sheet down there that'll explain some of the comments that were made tonight.
We have no more garbage collection. Yeah. What's next?
Fine.
Docket number SCBA 12-22, Tacamandios Taqueria, 34 North Elmhurst Road, appearance approval of a freestanding sign. Mr. Jennings?
The note from the April 26th memo on this particular item is that the staff report did not accompany the original set of drawings that went out. So the drawing that you see in front of you is the same drawing that was previously submitted. There was no staff description. The sign, as noted in the staff report, was recently approved. The face change that's proposed is within the extent of the box that was recently installed at this location. And with that, I would pass it on to Mr. Holland.
Your name and address, sir.
My name is Arthur Holland with the Holland Design Group. The address is 1090 Brown Street in Wakanda, Illinois. I'm sorry.
Don't get home much.
I don't have to do that usually.
A lot of meetings. Okay, want to explain what you want to do?
We have an existing sign at this business establishment. The business establishment is actually owned by his father. His father has given the control of the business over to his son to start up as a new venue. And with that, he would like to change the menu over to a Mexican fare. And he would like to have the tacos and the light fare as the major points of his menu. So with that, we are changing the sign face. We're putting in a new logo. We're using a off-white background with a multicolor fare of copy and logos. And is going to be on the same structure with no structural changes whatsoever. We're using the same mountings, and we're just changing the face. The landscaping is going to be typical to what was there existing, and we're here for your review of that tonight.
Okay. We'll start with Commissioner Rufato.
This is the supplemental stuff.
Thank you. Andrew, this is really for staff. When we approved the Phillips 66, they agreed to take down the tree. They agreed to take down a tree.
Yes.
Can we possibly get that done? I know they're working on that, but can we possibly get that done sooner rather than later? You know, it's been hanging around for a while, and it really does obstruct anything for that restaurant.
We can check in with them and see when they're planning on having their landscape.
Yeah, what their ETA is, you know, because if they're planning to do that in the fall, it really doesn't help anything. And then you talked about the existing landscaping. Can you review that again for me, just so we know what we're discussing here?
The sign is actually sitting on a paved area between two parking areas. Mm-hmm. Beyond that, to the north and the south, there are some landscaped areas which contain grass that has been mowed to a typical level, and then there's some junipers planted which are rather mature, and they're trimmed and maintained at a certain level. And that carries forward to the perimeters on the north end and the south end of the property with the same type of a juniper, which is matured and been trimmed and cut to a shape. Beyond that, they were trying to maintain some planters around the sign themselves of pottery nature, and those would have been maintained or filled with ornamental plants relative to the season.
Okay. So when would we expect to see those planters back there? Because the picture that we saw And, you know, you can put stuff out there now for spring, and there was nothing there, and I assume that's a pretty recent picture.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
As soon as the owner has possession and his name up, he'll be placing the required planted plots out there
Okay.
with the vegetation in them.
Great. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Not much to say about this one. Sign looks fine. A little busy, but you're not going to be doing any other painting on the building, anything like that? Just the sign change?
Yes, correct.
I guess that's it for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Burns.
No questions or comments, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Schaaf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At one time, the previous owner, before Alex's had that cart, are they going to bring that back?
No.
No. Okay. So it'll just be what was approved when the owner now went in. Now, just the planters there.
Now, but we're going to increase that.
Okay.
What I depicted on the sketch.
Very good. And is that an electronic sign below the circular sign? Was that electronic, or is that?
Illuminated in the evening hours, yes. No, not electronic. It's
Okay.
mechanically changed.
Right.
It's mechanically changed
Okay.
with letters.
Very good. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Steilen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not much of a proponent for this pot concept. I think if you look at what the previous petitioner had proposed, a rectangular raised planter around the base of the previous petitioner's sign, I think something like that, a more permanent planter-oriented structure would go much nicer here, rather than having seasonal plants that you have to roll in or roll out, or whatever is going to happen with these pots. I'd rather see something a lot more permanent. The trimmed juniper trees are trimmed juniper trees, and personally I don't think they add any beautification to the site at all. They look like exactly what you said, very mature and very pruned juniper bushes that look like they should have been replaced a long time ago, I'm sorry to say.
Okay.
But I would like to see a lot better landscaping, minimally around the base of the sign, like the landscaping, the square footage of landscaping we're supposed to have around a sign. Let's just make a raised planter bed. One of the problems that the petitioner, or previous petitioner, stated was, hey, it's concrete down there, but you can build up a 2-foot high, rectangular base of stone and put dirt in it, and I think plants and flowers and stuff will survive very well in that environment. I'd much rather see that kind of implementation than a helter-skelter of pots. And if there was anything we could do about the junipers, I'd love to do something about them as well. But thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorband.
I agree with Commissioner Steilen. Those bushes that are there really need to go. I was by there this afternoon, and they look horrible.
Okay.
So I would really, really like to see them go. We are working with the gas station on the corner to upgrade all that landscaping on the corner, and this is another part of that going down the road, which would be nice to have that all cleaned up and look nicer. And I agree with Commissioner Steilen on a raised kind of cement type of bed where you could add enough dirt that something would survive nicely there around the base of the sign. I just think there's an opportunity here to really spruce up that area. And
Okay.
I certainly think that by doing that, you'd be increasing the business. as well. That's all I have. Thank you.
Does anyone have a problem with the sign itself? No
I
one?
think the sign looks nice.
Okay. I think the proper, sir, proper thing to do probably would be for us to table this and have you come back with a landscaping plan. But if everyone is in agreement, he could go ahead and have his sign made. That's probably what you're waiting for.
It would be
And
ideal,
the
yes.
other stuff can be done. Is that all right? Does anyone have an objection to that?
No.
Okay. Do I hear a motion to table then?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
You didn't ask yet.
Everybody else
One
said
no.
aye, so I said no.
Okay. So the sign's okay. You can go ahead manufacturing the sign.
Yes.
But you've got to come back and, like I said, check with staff before you make any plans. He knows how we think, I think.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
May I ask what the...
One moment, someone up here asked.
Okay.
According to the staff report, we previously approved for Alex's that they could use the pots. Am I correct, Andrew?
That's correct.
So now we're doing a turnaround on them, and,
We also want the junipers gone.
well, that's another issue, but,
Right.
you know, we didn't ask for a planter box before, and now we are.
I believe that's because the fact that there was that big wagon in front, which they were going to do additional plantings. That was my understanding. And I just, out of curiosity, to keep the discussion going, Commissioner Rufato, you voted no. Can you explain why?
Sure, because we were approving a freestanding sign, and I was okay with the landscaping that they were going to provide.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for asking me, though.
Anyone else? We'll have something for you to sign.
Thank you very much. And I saw your sign out in front, and it's very impressive. I love the stonework. Looks very nice, Andrew. Thank you.
I didn't make it.
Andrew, this that I just signed, I voted no.
Oh. You just cross it out. We'll keep that version.
Okay.
Okay, calling docket number PC 12-16, Korean Cultural Center, 9930 South Capitol Drive, minor site plan and appearance approval for a pavilion. Mr. Jennings?
Thank you. The Korean Cultural Center originally submitted a plan to the airport for the purposes of discussion. The airport indication at that time was that a 7460 airspace review would be required. The Cultural Center proceeded to move the proposed structure in an attempt to obviate the need for that review. As it turns out, the review is required in any location on the property. So what the Cultural Center has discussed with staff is requesting approval of the appearance of this monument with a condition that allows them to keep pursuing their preferred location. And we have images of where those where it would be proposed. But that's in a nutshell what this update says.
Would you please identify yourself and your business address, sir?
My name is Jin Kim, retired architect. I'm contributing my time for the Korean Cultural Center. You've probably seen these images. This is a little structure, very, very traditional. It's a built-in palace. When the king walk, when he get tired, and get there and look out. And I feel like I'm very fortunate to have one like this. Actually, we want to have a replica of this. There's some minor adjustment. It has to do with local code requirement and our budget. Basically, this shape we like to just keep actually instantly. It is almost identical size. Column span is 8 feet by 8 feet, and very richly decorated with color. This practicing this color is started out more than 1,000 years ago. There's a Buddhist monk, when the cultivating, priesthood, meditating. Also, this would prevent insects getting into the wood. So that's the kind of purpose. Originally, we thought we could be much larger so that 12 musicians can get up there and play music. Because of our budget, we shrunk down. Then we had a 12 by 12 is 144 square. Now 8 by 8, 64 square feet. So much shrunk. So it's a very coincidence. This is the exact same size as we submit to you. Only problem we have is, and we have to, of course, we have to meet the FAA's requirement, village release requirement, and also we have to struggle to meet the budget. So if you can review this, and I know we don't have complete working drawing to apply regular permit. And the funny thing is, our budget comes from Busan City. City is a sister city of Chicago. They allocated a budget. Now they're waiting for us to do something, but what they're asking is, please submit the building permit. I said, look, here you have to hire somebody so that we can do the work, and then we submit the drawing for the permit. So somehow, some city officials, they don't, maybe they have different practice. So that's why we kind of like to share this is possible. It's not interfere with anything and the village you're willing want to do. But actually, I feel this very proud of it if this thing got built here. It's very unique. It might add to the cultural element and the wheeling instead of distracting. Only problem is the location. So we are shifting back and forth in the site. Other thing is we don't want to touch any existing utility like drainage or electric pole and trees. And that's why we choose southernmost site. There, when you have a summer event, people can come out and enjoy it. That's the slide I'm talking about. Actually, another advantage is we have, as probably you know, we have a central courtyard. From there, you can see glimpse of this. You don't see all, but it's very appealing. People might say, hey, let's go out. What the hell is happening? So that's kind of a location we prefer. But we have to, we're working with aviation engineer. They asking one of the criteria was you have to fill out the latitude, the altitude. I had one for the roof. They said, no, you have to have 4 columns. So even 8 by 8 feet small, well, that's the rules rule. So I have to do that. So actually, we finally got the 5 coordinate roof plus on each corner. So at the end, we have to work with the FAA, so what exactly they want have. So we're in the middle of this. Meantime, we like to secure our budget, the construction budget. So that's what we are. We would appreciate very much if we give something so that we can pursue this project, and we'll submit officially or complete the document.
Thank you. Mr. Rufato.
I'm okay with the structure. I'm just I'm having a hard time reconciling the three areas, Andrew.
Sir, can I answer that one?
Sure.
We have 3 different sites. We like to meet all the requirement of FAA, plus the village might have some input. So we don't know where it is. Also, probably you noticed we have 2 different structure, one with a handrail, one without handrail. So we like to have a handrail, and we may lose it. So that's we're really struggling, through all this problem.
If I can clear that up for you, they wanted this site originally.
Right.
The the airport said that they were going to have to get some permits or something, so they moved the site, and they were still going to have to get the permits, so they went back to this original site.
Yes, in a way, if I add Mr. Maloney, the second site is actually almost like a billboard. When you come in, you can see, but it doesn't have much practical use. Our original site is in the middle of open space. If we had a event in the summer, it's more useful. That's why we choose original, but we have to work with FAA's requirement.
I have nothing. It's if we can work with them on this item, fine.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. So just to clarify,
yes,
site location number 1 is the one you prefer?
I don't know which one. I sent it twice.
It's the one that's on the screen right now.
Yes.
That's the one you prefer?
Yes, that is preferred location. As you see, we are not touching, actually there's a light pole to the east side and the catch basin up, and we're not touching any tree. It's just a plant without interfering anything in existing element.
Well, out of the 3 options we have, I think that's the best one too.
Thank you.
I think putting it on the corner, you might end up with some vandalism. This way it's a little more protected,
yes,
out of the way, but it's centered for your use. So,
thank you.
That's all. Thanks.
Commissioner Burns.
Thank you. It's a beautiful building.
Thank you.
It's going to be unique to the neighborhood.
Yes, I think so.
That's not a bad thing. In addition to FAA approval,
yes,
I was hoping that there would be some additional comments from the fire department. I don't know what the fire code is for freestanding pavilions, but it's going to be subject to,
sure,
to the fire department approval as well.
By the way, here, I probably know already, we don't have any electrical work, plumbing work. The only thing is, since this is a wooden structure, so I don't know whether they're asking us to provide a sprinkler.
That's
but
what I'm
low
referring
structure,
to.
and doesn't have any fire load in a way. If so far away from existing building, it's burn it down. So anyhow, that's
when they review it and you work with them, you'll find out
sure
what is and isn't required.
We like to comply whatever village needs. Absolutely necessary.
Okay. Good luck to you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Interject, the fire department has reviewed it and had no comment on the plan as proposed.
I thought I saw something about portable fire extinguisher, and
Well, that was part of
Some of the documents, oh, part of their
I believe that was
description?
part of
Yeah, it was their
Oh,
description.
okay. I remember seeing it.
Is that from the original? The fire department has received a copy of the proposed plans. Additional comments may be made prior to the, and they had no
They have
additional
no
comments? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good luck, sir.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorband.
The only
Yes,
comment I have is this is really fabulous looking. I'll be really interested to see it
Thank
constructed.
you very much.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stylen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, I agree with the previous commissioners. This is a wonderful addition to our town, to your facility, and my only feeling is that I wish it were in a position to be more shareable with our town, a little bit closer maybe to Wolf Road where everybody could enjoy. But I look very much forward to coming over
Thank you very much.
and looking at it.
Actually, if you had money, we put one in your park you're designing now, right here.
I think it's lovely, it's perfect.
Thank
you very much
Thank you
for
very much.
taking the, and if you can make it 10 foot, try.
Commissioner Schaaf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I echo the comments of my fellow commissioners. Looks very good, very unique.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Jennings, are there any conditions?
There are 5 conditions of approval right now. The conditions from the staff report relating to the setback, which is based on the permitted obstructions in a required yard. Number 2 relates to the FAA. Number 3 also relates to the FAA. I won't get into the full details. Number 4 states that all 3 proposed locations are acceptable pending FAA review, unless there's an objection to that. I have not heard one yet. And number 5, that the structure may be constructed with or without handrails pending building code review.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded.
Motion was made by Commissioner Stylen, seconded by Commissioner Dorband. Commissioner Stylen?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorband?
Yes.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Fado, I vote yes. Commissioner Schaaf?
Yes.
And Chairman Maloney?
Yes.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
have something for you to
We
sign.
like hard to make it look pretty.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
Looks very nice.
I have trouble with the dimensions. Just got that.
Calling docket number PC 12-15, D'Agostino's Pizza, formerly Hackney's, 241 South Milwaukee Avenue, site and appearance approval of a restaurant. Mr. Jennings.
D'Agostino's Pizza is applying for site plan and appearance approval. The existing special use that was left from Hackney's is still in effect based on the submittal date of all the materials. So procedurally, what the staff would do with this item, pending the review of the Plan Commission tonight, is package the materials in order to replace the Hackney's ordinance. The ordinance is quite old. It references sections of the code that no longer exist. It references a zoning district that no longer exists. So it would be appropriate following this review to update and replace everything, the correct floor plan, et cetera. So following this review, that's the current plan of the staff.
Sir, could you identify yourself? And
Yes, good evening. My name is Michael Weber. I represent Albazi Architects. We're at 6348 North Cicero Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60646.
is this gentleman going to speak also?
Jeffrey DiAugustino of DiAugustino's Pizzeria, and I live here in Wheeling.
Very good. You've got the floor.
All right. So, well, other than the extensive remodeling that DiAugustino's is now currently running on the interior of the building, we are now proposing, along with what you can see in the photograph here, some changes to the outside material, i.e. just the mansard roof color. It used to be a wood shake. We're proposing now a metal standing seam roof. And then also what we're proposing is a new patio in the back to replace the existing patio. And the new materials and the new colors of the existing patio, basically it's going to be a concrete patio. I believe, I don't know if Brooke had given you a packet that I just basically created today showing you some sample colors and samples of concrete stamped walls that we would be using to encompass and surround the new proposed patio. Those walls would be also, on top of those walls, we would be incorporating whether it be aluminum, like a black aluminum, or a wrought iron railing, just to create the intimacy of the space.
I think we have an image of that. If you just give me 1 second.
There's, yeah, there it is.
Let's see. So that's
That
the
is the
plan.
patio plan, correct.
And I believe there's a, there we go.
And along with the patio plan, there's also planting, proposing a couple new trees. There's existing landscaping around the perimeter of the existing patio currently that's very dilapidated. There's some very old trees. There's some, I don't know if they're Japanese yews or if they're arborvitae, but it's just really, really ugly.
Is that a technical term?
I think that is. But other than that, our proposal is just to put some new plantings in, some tiger eye sumac, some grasses to keep architectural interest all year long, 2 new, what are they called? Excuse me. I need to look at my notes. Trinity pear trees, which will be in the lower portions of where you see that patio. And those are at the same plane as the patio itself. You can see that the ground slopes toward the east, toward the river. If you're looking for anything, you'd be on sheet A 1.3.
It's 19 of 26 on our screens.
Okay. Also, for the patio, we're going to be proposing new lighting. And that lighting is basically post-top mounted lights on about 8-foot tall posts. I also had just made a copy of this today that I forwarded, or I gave to you, showing the typical type of light that we're looking at. I don't know if Wheeling has a dark night ordinance?
No.
Or dark sky, okay. But these are all reflecting downward lights, so they don't reflect anything up into the sky.
Is that?
I think so.
Okay, I'll start off with Commissioner Dorband.
Oh, boy. I was just looking up on the tiger eye sumac, which are very interesting looking. What were the other plants you said?
Well, one of them, 2 of them are Trinity pears, and that's basically more of a tree that's going to be going into the lower area directly in the same plane as the patio itself.
Trinity pear?
Pear.
Oh, okay.
And there's also some velvet boxwood or green boxwoods.
Which boxwood? Because
It's
there are so many
called
of those.
green velvet.
Okay.
And then there's the actual grass is a miscanthus, and that's morning light.
On the boxwood, they appear to, in the picture that I have here, they appear to be very rounded and they seem more compact, is that
Correct, correct.
Okay,
Because
and they
these are
do-
going into small planters,
about 20, so they'll be what, about maybe 24 inches?
probably, yeah.
And with the mixture of the items that you already discussed, are you planning on doing some things like some perennial coloring
Yes,
besides that?
yes. On the bottom of the list, we basically have annuals and perennials that are going to be planted yearly or year-round, just to keep a general interest, spring, summer, winter. We also have some vines that we're planning on putting in, just so it can create a little bit of greenery along that wall that we're proposing. I like the softening of a concrete wall with some vining. I think it's a nice look.
And of the pictures that you provided us, did you have, are these going, they're not going to all be used,
No,
obviously.
these were just samples just to show you
Okay.
that
Which
stamped
were the
concrete.
preferences? Or the preference, I should say.
Preference is on the upper left,
Oh, okay,
in that tonal range also.
okay. And the lighting looks fine to me. Had you also, in the planter boxes that are back there, are you going to put lighting in there, in those boxes as well, or just the over-top lighting?
Right now, it was just the overtop lighting, and we were discussing some ideas because there's 2 existing trees in the center of that patio that we're retaining. I'd like to see some light put up into those trees to shine downward. I think it always makes a really interesting feel in the middle of summer when you have trees lit from above instead of shooting from below. We could add lighting in small, like low voltage lighting into the planter boxes themselves to give those plants glow, and also to give that background, when you're coming up and from the parking lot to the location, you'll see those plants, and you also see the nice kind of contrast with the wrought iron railing.
In the front of the building, are you planning on changing out any of the existing landscaping?
Currently, no, but I think Jeff could probably answer that better than I could.
Currently, no, like Michael said, we're just going to we'll redo it, make it nice, and down the road, that might be something that we do. We have to watch our budget right now.
Is it possible to add maybe just some color, like some daylilies or something in, to
Sure.
just give it some
Yeah.
light,
I don't see why
some
not.
life
I don't
there?
see that being a problem. Yeah,
Okay. I don't think I have any other questions. Oh, we talked about the mansard roof. Tell me a little more about that material.
The mansard roof, I don't know, I dropped off a large sample of it, but the color of the mansard roof is this red. Actually, it is called cardinal red. And this took these from the site today. This is just a very general range of the brick color that is on DeAgostino's. It really ranges from browns to reds to white. And in order to kind of make this building grow into the 21st century, we wanted to add this splash of color that mimics and also really complements the brick tone on the building. We're also changing out all the windows and all of the white trim to just a very dark bronze black color. So the building becomes much more modern in its appearance. There's kind of an example of it on these renderings. So.
I was going to ask you about the window, so thank you for offering that. That's my only questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Stylen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really don't have many comments at all about the building. Just the front patio area, your drawing A1-2 shows 5 tables with 4 seats each, and our docket says that that front area will have 24 seats. So how many tables and chairs seating are you planning on having in that front area?
Yeah, for some reason, I should just say 20, I believe, but I mean.
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
We discussed between 16 and 20 seats total up front.
The other thing is, I didn't really see the sizes too clearly on the plan. I see them now a lot better than I saw them before, but I went out and measured the site and just did a couple arm's length things, and there really isn't much room out there at all for seating. I mean, if you go over...
In the front portion?
Yeah, if you go just
Correct.
over the sidewalk, to me, it looked like you'd have about 9 feet away from the wall, and I know you're saying 19 feet if I read your drawing.
It's actually 14 feet. So
Okay.
it's 5 feet beyond the 9 foot to where that sidewalk comes in. That one's
And are you going to put up a retaining wall or something around that?
No, it was just strictly patio. What Jeff and Debbie wanted to do was just kind of create a little bit of brightness with tables, with, you know, umbrellas in front, just to create that little bit of, when people are traveling down Milwaukee Avenue, you'll just see a little bit of life in the front of the building.
I mean, do you know what the setback from Milwaukee Avenue to, let's say, where that table would be?
Possibly, I'm going to, without stating it in clear, precise numbers, I would say about 15 feet, 20 feet.
Yeah. Andrew, do you know how the setback between the street and, let's say, the edge of the sign, what is that typically, you know, the illuminated reader board sign? To me, it looked like that patio might come out to, you know, close to that tree area that's shown there. I'm just wondering if that's...
No, that one tree, if I may interject, is actually a lot further north than where that patio is.
Right, but I mean, I thought...
In line?
Yeah, it looked like it might come out that far, because it's just...
I think we're actually a little bit east of that yet, the tree.
Just beyond the sidewalk area. I don't know, for safety, I think I might like to see a little wall like you were proposing around the back, but, you know, I'm sure that would be a building issue or safety issue that we'd need to discuss. Other than that, I think it's great, but, you know, like I said, I'd like to see a wall with decorative railing on top. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Schaaf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If my memory serves right, Hackney's came in to decorate those 2 existing trees on that patio with some lights.
You are correct. There is a lot of, I think, what do you call them? Christmas lights.
Yeah, like Christmas lights. Do you intend to keep those, or are you going to replace those with?
I think those are going to be replaced. Yeah.
Okay. Other than that, it looks good to me.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Rufato.
Thank you. You mentioned, and if it was on one of the drawings, I missed it. You mentioned the trash enclosure, but I actually don't see it on any of the plans. I see the loading dock. I'm looking at, I can't think of what I'm looking at here. I'm actually looking at the plan that has the patios on it, and in the lower right-hand corner there is a drawing depicting the parking, and shows a loading dock, service vaults, ComEd, but I don't see where placement of the trash is.
Currently, we don't have a location for the trash. Until Jeff and Debbie start operating, they won't know what amount of dumpsters they're going to have, what the quantity of pickup, garbage pickup. So until we determine exactly what they have in terms of their overall requirement for trash pickup, we don't know how large of a trash enclosure we're going to need or where it's going to really go. But it will be in the back of the building. It is not going to go anywhere toward the west or the north or the south facing sides.
Just so, we have a condition that they come back to us, tell us where that's going to be. That'd be helpful. And you mentioned that there's no plans for the basement, the downstairs. Is that going to be used at all, the downstairs?
It needs to be remodeled, so we don't see anything happening right away.
Okay.
For sure. if we do, we'll let you know. I mean, it's just, that place need a lot of work.
We talked about the patio, and I agree with Commissioner Steinle that something should go around that front, maybe something similar to what you're putting around here. And then you had these examples here. Is this just an example of the stamped concrete? Are you telling us which one is going to be?
No, I'm not. I think we're leaning toward the upper left just in terms of the color tone and, you know, the just general look of it. But again, there are different patterns. There are different types of stamped concrete walls. But that's the one we seem to be leaning toward.
From a color perspective?
From a color perspective, and even that pattern.
Okay. Well, we should probably decide on what's going to go there, I would think. So I agree. I think that color is fine with the wrought iron. And something in front there, to Commissioner Stein, so it's consistent around, and you have something there for those front tables would be very nice. I think that was it. Yeah. No, and it looks great though. Restriping, are you restriping the parking lot?
Yes, we are. Okay. We're adding, I believe, another 5 additional handicap parking spaces to the parking lot.
Great. And I think in the staff report, signage is going to come later?
Yeah, what's shown is to illustrate the current concept, but it is intended to be coming at a later date.
All right, thank you. That's all I had. Welcome.
Thank you.
Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Is this going to be your largest store? Been to the Glenview one.
The one in Wrigleyville is similar in size.
Oh, okay.
If not, the building itself is probably bigger than one in Wrigley Field by there. And then Wrigley Field's even bigger.
Is the upstairs apartment going to be used as living space or just?
You know, we haven't really decided on it.
Okay.
I really don't know. My main focus right now is to get the main level done, and we need to get open.
Yeah.
So that's where all our resources are going right now.
I would agree with the other commissioners about something around that front patio. Having been very close to a serious problem this week myself, I know how traffic can go awry, and give your guests a fighting chance anyways. Had something else, I can't remember what it was.
Happy to oblige you.
I was just cued to ask why Cardinal Red in Chicago.
Actually, it does tie into their signage. Their signage is green, white, and very red.
You could have come in with it.
It's not Cubs blue.
I would get probably blue, but.
Are we reviewing signage too on this? No? Okay. Then that's all I had. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Burns.
Thank you. Let me take up with Commissioner Johnson. Would you like that enclosure to be UL approved for stopping a runaway bus?
Yes. Please.
It's all been covered. Thanks for coming to Wheeling, and really look forward to you opening up and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Jennings, would you read the conditions?
Can I ask one question? When do you plan on opening?
As soon as we can.
Which would be?
Mid-July, I'm thinking,
When we're done messing with them.
Not, you know, we may be done, but if I'm not comfortable yet opening, I'm not opening until I'm ready. So, but I think mid-July, that's our target.
And can I ask what your hours of operation are going to be, just to see if we can...
What time do you want to come in?
Well, after the Plan Commission meeting, of course.
I mean, I know on here we have them written until maybe our liquor licenses, but, you know, it's entirely possible I could feasibly see not being open that late just because, you know, it won't warrant being open that late, but
okay.
We'll see.
Best of luck to you.
Yeah, okay.
Before we go further, can you read the conditions that we already have?
Right now, condition number 1, that the motion shall be updated to reference the light fixture detail, stone detail, and color pattern sample, and trash enclosure detail. Number 2, that the front patio include 15 to 20 seats. Did you say 16 to 20, 15 to 20?
16 to 20.
16? The daylilies shall be added in the front of the building, and the last one I had is that the trash enclosure shall be located in the rear of the building. I did not have anything on the wall in the front yet. I heard a couple of requests, but I wasn't sure if we...
Yeah, well, I wanted to get this away, and then we can talk about that.
That's what I have so far.
Yeah, we got, I guess the majority seems to be in favor of some kind of a restraining or some kind of a wall in the surrounding the patio on the Milwaukee Ave side. Do you have suggestions for us on what it could be?
I think we're going to probably do the same exact thing that we did in the side patio.
And that is?
Stamped concrete, and that needs a full foundation so that there is some rigidity to that. And then along with, whether it be, again, wrought iron or black aluminum railing on top of that. The overall height of that retaining wall might be about 2 feet tall. So enough to basically stop a front bumper of a car.
Just give you a shot.
Yeah.
Not a bus, though.
Not a bus.
Not a bus.
Try it, Dan.
And I don't think it needs to encompass or surround the entire patio. I think we still need to have some fluid motion through that patio and access for that sidewalk to continue through. So we'll probably stop it and start it in some locations, but the front wall or the westmost wall would be full.
Solid.
Solid.
That's fine.
You get done, would you read that?
That the front patio shall include a wall of a similar design to the rear patio or the side patio?
Correct.
Openings as needed.
Correct.
Is that a entry door there, or is it just for service?
No, that's not an entry door over that location anymore. That's been removed.
Oh, it's okay.
The new entrance door is actually directly east.
The door shown in the, right here?
Doesn't exist.
Does not exist?
That's actually an egress door.
Okay,
And just access to the patio.
got it. Okay.
On the trash bin, do we have an enclosure on that?
As of right now, it says, it just reads, well, first the detail of what the materials would be, and then the trash enclosure shall be located in the rear of the building. I could add size to be determined.
Right, but also should be enclosed.
Correct.
Not
A full
normal way.
enclosure with gates.
Yep.
I think I've given you another drawing that I think is 1.7 that you don't have as part of your computers, but I gave that to you this evening. That shows actually just a general detail that we have for trash enclosures. It's a wood. It uses metal 4x4 posts that are buried into the ground about 3 feet, and then it's just a wood double slatted so you can't see through it, and then
Exactly
gated.
what we want.
Wonderful.
I have a question about that, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
This says that some of the posts will be steel and some will be womanized wood
Oh,
as
that's a
determined. Huh?
That's a typo. I should say all steel.
That's what we would prefer. Intermediate locations to be determined, it says.
Correct.
Okay, but it'll be all steel, you're
It
saying?
will be all steel.
Great.
4x4.
And Andrew, while you're typing, could we, just to avoid any confusion, say that the west side patio is going to have somewhere between 16 and 20 seats? I think that's what.
We have that. Any other conditions for discussion?
I have none. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Ruffato, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Ruffato, I vote yes. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Darban?
Yes?
Commissioner Schaaf?
Yes.
Commissioner Stylen?
Yes.
And Chairman Maloney?
Yes. We'll have something to sign, and welcome to Wheeling.
Thank you,
very
gentlemen
much. Thank
and
you.
lady.
Let us know when you open, okay? What's next?
Yes.
Calling docket number 2012-6, Listerki Learning Center, 710 South Milwaukee Avenue, special use for commercial daycare. Mr. Jennings. Oh, this is a public hearing, Mr. Rafato.
Thank you. Malgrazada Waz, Lisi, doing business as Laterki Learning Care Center, is seeking a special use under Title 19 zoning of the Wheeling Municipal Code, Chapter 19-06, Commercial Districts, Chapter 19-10, Use Regulations, Chapter 19-12, Site Plan Approval Requirements and Associated Section in order to operate a commercial daycare in B3 Commercial District and Office District at 710 South Milwaukee Avenue, located within the multi-tenant office building at 700 through 728 South Milwaukee Avenue, Wheeling, Illinois. A zoning special use as defined in Title 19 of the Village of Wheeling zoning is a use of a parcel of land that requires review and consideration before approval due to circumstances or effects on the surrounding properties that may adversely affect them. In order to be considered for a special use, petitioner is required to demonstrate through testimony to the Plan Commission at the public hearing why their request meets the conditions of the Village Code, including but not limited to how the proposed use will not damage the enjoyment or use of the surrounding properties. Prior to the public hearing, the petitioner provides written statements meant to show that the request for a special use meets the standards established in Title 19. The Commission chairperson will typically direct that these statements be entered into the record without a full reading of them at the hearing. Based upon the testimony and supporting materials submitted, the Plan Commission will make findings in support of or against the petitioner's testimony and report those findings to the Village Board.
Thank you. Mr. Jennings?
No additional staff comments at this time.
This is a public hearing. Everyone that speaks has to be sworn in. Do you swear everything you're about to tell us is the truth?
Yes.
Would you give your name and business address, please?
Yes, my name is Margaret Weiss, and the address is 710 South Milwaukee, Wheeling, Illinois. 600.
Thank you. You may make your presentation.
I got approval from Wheeling Village in 299 for Litarki Learning Care Center. It's a center for Polish American kids. We're doing like preschool from kids from 2 years old to 6 years old. And we used to have and have like part-time in the morning hours and afternoon hours. And I would like to ask to add more hours, increase the hours for longer longer day, like from 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock, because it's more convenience for parents. And usually during this time, the recession economy is not good, so parents prefer leave the kids for all day in the school than like 3 hours. It's not convenient for mom because mom come back to work right now. So increasing hours will be better for my business and for my school. And also during this program, I would like to ask for adding the outdoor play area, which is located the same area next on the back of the building. It's a grassy area and nothing is there, just grassy area.
And you're going to enclose that in a fence?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to add, Mr. Jennings?
There was one sort of unique suggestion in the staff report. The petitioner's business has, at this time, this is the second public hearing related to this business. In a multi-tenant building such as this, there's the possibility that adjacent space could become available. And what staff has discussed with the petitioner is having some sort of framework for a future review. Should an additional space become available adjacent to the petitioner's business, have some sort of framework for review in place so that the existing business could potentially expand without going through the full public hearing process again. So that's the condition of approval that was suggested in the staff report. Somewhat unusual, but given the location, there's a likelihood that something like that could happen in the future.
Thank you. Let's start with Commissioner Burns.
Thank you. In the report, Andrew, there's a comment on sidewalks that there is an existing concrete walk on the property, but it doesn't appear that there's a true public sidewalk. Is this concrete walk too narrow? Why doesn't it qualify as a true public sidewalk?
You know, I think, I'm trying to remember the circumstances. We may be referring there to the walk directly in front of the that connects between the subject building and the parking area. I don't know that there is, do you know offhand if there's a sidewalk along Milwaukee Avenue as well, or is it limited to just the building?
Yeah, it is sidewalk by the Milwaukee Avenue. Yes, it's around the building.
Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there is a public sidewalk along Milwaukee, and this wouldn't trigger any requirement for a sidewalk construction or contribution?
No, it's a sidewalk over there.
Okay. My only other question is this play area that the play lot you're gonna build, it's owned by the owner of the center of the building?
Yes.
So you have his permission to expand your area over there?
I got his permission and he signed the papers which I got from Village.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you.
Those are my questions, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. About how far away is the play lot from where you'd be taking the kids? I mean, how much parking lot are they going to have to go through to get to the play area?
How far? It's just another side of the building. So it's next to building. The area where I want to edit the playground is next to building. Like you see on the picture, the tree, so it's like, I don't know, it's like, I don't know.
She's here at the playground.
Okay, so it's right in the area that's got some trees now?
Yeah, like 100 feet, something like that. I know different measurement.
Is there a lot
meters.
Is there a lot of traffic through that parking lot?
No, absolutely not.
I don't know what the other tenants are.
Absolutely not, because 1/3 of the building is empty. No business, so.
Okay. Let's see if I had something else. I had the same question about the ownership. Do you have an actual layout of the play area? I've seen pictures of the equipment that you're looking at, but do you have an actual layout of the play area itself?
I just have the pictures.
Okay.
Yeah, the pictures which I...
Do we need that, Andrew?
No, not really. The layout is not really typically provided. What we've had with the Park District, for example, has been the overall location, site plan, and sample images of the types of equipment.
Does somebody look at on the village side as far as safety stuff?
Not typically, no. They have requirements. There's manufacturer's requirements for clearance. Swings have a certain clear space. Slides have a certain clear space, and typically that's handled by the entity doing the construction.
Okay. All right, that's all I had. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Raffato.
Thank you. Is it, maybe this is for staff more so, they have to cross that parking lot. Would it make sense to put some type of striping there or something so they know that they're walking from the building to that area?
The area...
The playground area will be limited because we have lots of curriculum and activities during a day. So usually the kids will be use the playground like 1 hour in the morning when the weather is permitted, and also afternoon. And the playground will be used like the summertime, like it's nice outside. Usually in winter time we not go outside with the children because it's too cold. So the usage of the playground will be very limited.
And I'm not concerned about the limits, but they still do have to walk there. Even if it's for 15 minutes. I just, if something like that is there, they know that there's a potential for somebody to walk through that area as cars go through. Granted, I know that only a third of it is occupied, but there is traffic.
It's a little bit of a unique situation. We haven't had anything exactly like this that I can recall. So the area in question is they'd be using the sidewalk that goes in front of the other units. There's 3 units in between your unit and the end, a few units in between.
2 units.
And then
yes.
The picture doesn't really show this, but at the end, there's the sidewalk leaves off at the drive. You can see the drive from that sidewalk. Like I said, we haven't had anything exactly like this.
Page 50, Andrew.
Page 50.
Yeah, so I'm looking at an aerial view of it now, and there is a sidewalk that goes right to the asphalt, and then I assume they're going straight across there. Granted, it's a short walk, but I would just think it would be something that would make sense.
Marked crosswalk of some kind.
Yeah, exactly.
Is the request more of a signage, or is it the paint? You're looking for a striping?
Yes, both. Just for safety's sake, we have them all over the village, and granted, this is on private property, but it's a safety concern.
Like a children crossing sign and a striped walkway.
I don't have any issue with where it's at. It's a great location, but I would be concerned about the safety of the children. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Dorband.
I have nothing, thank you.
Commissioner Stylen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to add on to Jim's comment, once you get to the other side of the parking lot, you're going to enter a grassy area before you get to your play area, and I'm just wondering if we could get either an asphalt path or something for the children to walk on rather than the grass. If you're going to have the picture you had showing the play area had some kind of mulch or something, it just wasn't grass, was it?
Yeah, there will be like wood chips pattern, yes.
Right, so, and the picture showed a sidewalk or something leading up to the gate to get into the play area on the bottom right-hand side. You know, I'd like to see some kind of a path. Now, it could either be just a gravel path or an asphalt path. I don't think it needs to be concrete or
even
anything.
wood chips.
Or wood chips, yeah,
yeah.
that'd be fine, but something that would show the kids where they can walk to the play area. I think it's nice, and you know, I think your change in philosophy to become a daycare operation, I think that'll work out well for you as well.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Schaaf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I too would think marking a crosswalk type thing from the sidewalk, you know, through the parking lot should also contain the signage, you know, children at play, at least something like that, and a pathway.
Okay.
The other question I have: will this will your playground area be locked at night?
Yes.
Chained and locked.
Yes,
yeah.
that will be only for school use. So we'll be locked.
Will you have some type of, let's say, a photoelectric, so when somebody comes near that it would illuminate?
No, probably there will be regular lock, like the, you know, with the key, the locked with the key. And
Right.
chain.
So you're only going to protect it with a chain.
Right.
Okay. Instead of somebody walks up to the gate, a light would shine on there.
No.
Okay.
No.
You're not proposing that.
No.
Okay. I think it'd be in your best interest, but you know, at
Maybe
least
in the future, but right now just regular lock.
right. At least you'll have that chained.
Yes.
And with the other things I mentioned, I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
The rest of it, I had no problem.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak about this subject? Is there anyone? There being no one, we close this portion of the public hearing. Any other questions from the commission?
I have one.
Yes.
Is the parking lot a one-way drive all the way around?
Yes.
Okay. So that cuts back on the hazards there.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Mr. Jennings, would you read the conditions?
As of right now, it includes the suggested condition relating to the future review. So number one is the old condition from the previous review. 3 parking spaces near the front door dedicated for the use of the specific unit, which is an existing condition. Number 2, that the future expansion of the special use for commercial daycare shall be permitted without an additional public hearing, provided that the hours of operation remain the same, parking requirement can be satisfied without requiring a variation, the general description of the business remains the same, and the area of expansion is no more than 50% of the existing floor area. That should be reviewed and not permitted. The daycare expansion shall be reviewed without an additional public hearing. Let me just correct that. Number 3, that the crossing in the parking lot should be marked and identified with signage. And number 4, that the plan include a path to connect from the parking lot to the play area.
Any additional? With that, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Rufato, seconded by Commissioner Steinle. Commissioner Rufato, vote yes. Commissioner Steinle?
Yes.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaaf?
Yes.
Commissioner Darband?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
And Chairman Maloney?
Yes. We'll have some papers.
Thank you.
We need a motion to close. This was a public.
Motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Okay, I'll second.
All right. Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Public hearing is closed. We get done signing this, we're going to take a 10-minute break before we go into the main bout.
No? I never heard that.
The meeting is reconvened. We're bringing up docket number 2012-3, 2012-5, PC 12-10, and SCBA 1213, Phil Haven Multifamily Residential Building. Now, the public hearing on this has been closed at the last meeting, but at that point, we were left with about four or five points that the Phil Haven people had to clarify and bring back to us. One had to do with the fence. The other was grading and utilities, the variation in unit size from the first plan to the second, the escrow for parking, and the triggers for the parking covenant. Mr. Jennings, do you have anything to add to this?
Just briefly, in the staff report, the original staff report, there's the staff compiled potential conditions to attach to the suggested motion based on the discussion. Both the commission and the petitioner received that. During the week, the petitioner refined the plan. As you see in front of you, there's a plan that illustrates the removal of additional trees to allow the fence to be straightened. The grading and utility plans were also updated to reflect the discussion with the engineer of the adjacent homeowners association, and a photograph of the fence was provided. There's a letter that was originally submitted with the packet describing the progress and updates between the April 12th meeting and tonight. That letter was revised to note the additional materials that were provided. And with that, I would hand it over to the petitioner.
Just for the record, your name, please.
Jessica Verzak, DeVere Development Group.
And would you go ahead?
Sure. Do I have control here, Andrew? There we go. Good evening. It's nice to see you all again. We've spent the last 2 weeks working closely with Manhart as well as the Lakeside HOA. So I'm going to go through briefly the things that we clarified. We wanted to be as specific as possible. As we closed public hearing, obviously there were some clarifications that we wanted to make sure were reflected throughout the plans. So regarding the fence, it's now a 3-sided fence. We appreciated the comments about on the fence on the east perimeter last time, so it now is a 3-sided fence, and it is now a straight fence. We were planning to jog it to preserve trees. I've spent time on the site, as well as I think some of the commissioners, the engineers. We don't feel that there are any trees really along that perimeter that are worth saving. They're overgrown and problematic for the existing homeowners, and we're not very interested in maintaining those ourselves either. So we've decided that we will just in fact remove those as necessary to make this fence actually straight. We have adjusted that the fence will now be a PVC material. That was something that the Lakeside folks asked us and we talked about, and we're happy to make that change. We've also added picnic tables and benches along the north side, kind of near the play lot outside the community area. We have added plantings. We upgraded from aluminum to steel bedding in the landscaping plan. We did provide an outline of what the covered parking would look like should that variance be denied. Regarding grading specifically, we've updated the let me get to my right notes on that, excuse me. The grading plan was revised to allow for the proposed overland flood route to be directed towards Hintz Road. In addition, we have additional topography on the northwest corner. We've added a swale along the north line of the subject property, which will drain the rear yards of the adjacent units. And we've also added an additional drainage structure at the northwest corner of the site. So that was all in conjunction with what we saw from Manhart previously. And then regarding the covenant, we did revise that in terms of the trigger. We took out the language regarding a third-party study so that it's in pure discretion of the village at this point. And we've added language that we will establish a cash escrow based on general contractor estimates of the cost to someday do the entire land banking. And that would be established as a cash escrow with the title company for a 20-year period, which would get us through any potential changes in ownership upon expiration of our 15-year limited partnership agreement. And with that, I just wanted to comment that we have no objections to the conditions as Andrew drafted in the staff report. So we are welcome to answer any questions or move to your discussion on the motions themselves.
Just want to ask one question to the engineer from the representing Lakeside. You've met with the engineers from this group and you agree with what's in here now?
Yes, we agree with the conditions that
Yes, my name is Jim Frayne from Manhart Consulting, 900 Woodlands Parkway in Vernon Hills. We agree with the revised plan and the letter that Jessica has presented to the Lakeside HOA as far as those conditions based on where the plan approval is right now. Obviously, there's details to be worked out of final engineering, but right now we're in agreement with the letter and the covenants and the plans.
Okay, thank you. Start off with Commissioner Durband.
Thank you. Can we talk a little bit more about if the commission would want the covered parking, what that material would be, how that's going to be laid out?
So if the covered variance is denied this evening, we would still actually propose going to village board requesting that variance. And if it's denied at that point, we would obviously have to submit everything for permitting is our understanding.
But what, do you have any thoughts?
At this point, it would be a canopy structure. So you can see in the site plan, it covers actually, I think, a total of 51 spaces based on the layout. So it looks like a carport type of structure.
So you're talking about possibly a canopy type of thing, canopy material?
No, it wouldn't be a soft material if
Okay.
that's what, yeah, it would be a hard material, like carport, I guess is the better word for it. And I did want to say one other thing because it's your turn right now. We have also committed that by the time we come in for permits, the unit sizes will have re-increased to what you originally saw. As we looked at why those shrunk a little bit, obviously at this point as they're stacking plumbing and doing, very small things, to lose, 6 inches in one room can sometimes change the total square footage. But we're very confident that as we move to a permit set of drawings, the units will get back to what you originally saw.
Other than what you discussed this evening about escrowing the funding for possibly having the land bank, are there and the fence? Are there any other changes that have made from currently to originally that we need to know about?
So it was the grading changes, the topography in the swale, the additional drainage structure in the northwest corner, the fence. We did add the several benches and picnic tables. The unit sizes will be re-increased by permitting, the covenant. Just want to make sure I got everything else. I believe that's all.
Okay, I have no other questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Stylen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think you've done a real nice job of enhancing the site and putting in lots of little amenities. And while I don't see a building facade that says brick instead of masonry, I hope we're still planning on using real brick for the building. But I do want to say that, I think that a 20-year donation or bond or whatever to handle the parking again, I think someday this building may revert back to a normal, regular, multi-family building, and somebody's going to be faced with a challenge of building a lot of infrastructure in support of additional parking. And, you know, if you make a bond of your estimate of what it would cost today to build the parking lot, what would it cost to build it 20 years from now? It's going to be a lot more expensive than it is today. And if you're just putting today's value of funds into this bond, it won't be enough to support the future needs. So I'm still holding that you should install the entire parking. So, but I thank you for making the adjustments. And,
it is an interest-bearing escrow, so obviously the amount would grow.
well, I saw a footnote in there that you were able to take out the interest each year. So, you know, that kind of defeats that purpose. And 0.1% isn't going to give us a lot of additional money 20 years from now. So, but anyway, those are my comments, and I do thank you for taking the opinions of Lakeside into consideration and doing whatever you could over on that westerly side, especially that was off your property more or less, and trying to accommodate some of their challenges. So I do thank you.
Yeah, it's been a positive working relationship. We're happy to work with them.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Schaaf.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I share Commissioner Styland's thoughts on the escrow account. I don't think that's near enough money, although I'm not in total agreement that I understand the rationale of limiting the parking. Whether I agree with that or not is beside the point. But at least there are provisions. There's some provisions made. At no time did you make any provisions other than saying, yeah, we'll look at putting in covered parking. There's no rationale behind not putting in covered parking. So that I have to stand for. I do hope that this project will alleviate some flooding issues. I'm not totally convinced that it will, but I hope that it will help the surrounding area, and hopefully, you know, we can get, or our staff can get with the county and allow more water to flow into Hintz Road rather than back to the north. Those are my hopes. Whether that comes true or not, you know, you can only hope. So other than that, the project looks good. I just can't support the parking variations. And like I said, you hope that it alleviates some of the flooding problems. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Rufato.
Thank you. Did we decide on a color for the fencing? Is this what you're going with?
That is what we've proposed, yes.
All right, great. That was the only question I had. Thank you.
Commissioner Burns. I'm sorry, Commissioner Johnson.
Oh, you're changing things up
Thought
here.
you're out fixing your fence.
Yeah. Okay, so the stormwater thing, it appears that everybody's in agreement that it's been taken care of. Village.
All right, keep it down.
I'm asking the people that are the experts in engineering.
That's correct.
And you're happy with what they've come up with, and I don't have a problem with the parking variations, the covered parking variation, and I wouldn't want to see just a canopy. It would look like Super Dog in an apartment building, you know. I'd rather go without the covered parking. I don't really think I had any other questions. I was handed some new material tonight, but I haven't had a chance to get through it all. So that's all I have.
Commissioner Barnes.
Thank you. So changing the topography is going to direct more water towards Hintz Road, more water to the south and less water to the north and towards Lakeside Villas and Jackson Drive. Is that correct?
I'll refer to my engineer.
Good evening.
Hi.
Correct, it's the proposed grading, the proposed topography. We would change the overland flood route. In other words, when the water fills up on the site, where the direction it would spill over. So we've adjusted the site grading to direct it towards Hintz Road. That's a proposed condition.
It's proposed because you need Cook County to agree with that, is that?
That's correct.
So this might change again.
So
if we don't get Cook County to agree.
Well, we have the plan that we had in place that would meet the village and Illinois standards for design. What we're proposing to do is to try and go above and beyond that to meet the demands of the residents and the adjacent homeowners association, to try and accommodate that along with what the village is requesting, that we would redesign the site or design the site in such a way as to redirect water towards Hintz Road.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a big issue, and it'd be great to get that taken care of. And if Manhard's in agreement, as Commissioner Johnson said, that you guys have the expertise on that. The covenant on triggering building the additional parking if the variation for the land banking is granted. We received that covenant, and it was 5 pages long and had a lot of language that would have to be poured over by the village attorney. I just, again, would reiterate that the trigger really should be in the sole discretion of the village. If they believe they have a reason for more parking, whether it be all 73 spaces or whatever number they come up with, that pretty much should be the trigger, in my opinion. Okay, my last question. Forgive me, I don't mean to insult anybody, but maybe it's just a stupid question on my part, but I haven't dealt with underground rainwater storage vaults before. These surely are designed to hold up a semi-trailer truck that has 50 or 60 or 70,000 pounds rolling across the parking lot. Great. Those are my questions, Mr.
For the record, that head shaking is a yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Gray, do you have anything to add to this?
Yeah, I would just like to clarify, every time you go to TGIF Fridays, they actually have an underground vault and you park on top of it.
Thank you. Driven the fire truck across that parking lot.
I'd like a change in the parking covenant to $150,000 without the ability to withdraw.
Without the ability to withdraw, I have no objection to. I'm curious, since 105 came from a third-party cost estimate, I'm wondering why you came up with 150.
Top of my head, probably with the same place the guy took the 105 from. It's going to cost probably that much if you got this variation. In a year from now, it might cost you $105,000, but in 20 years, it's going to cost you a lot more. Are you willing to go to 150?
We are.
Okay. And without drawing interest?
That's fine. I didn't catch that my lawyer snuck that in, actually.
Any other questions from the commission? I want to make a statement that I've given a great deal of thought to my vote this evening on this variation for parking. And I'd like to go over some of the concerns that have been discussed. One is flooding. The proposed control on water runoff appear to make the situation better than it currently is. The water retention plan is based on the parking lot being built to its full capacity. By land banking some of the parking, the flooding situation in normal rains would be even better for the adjacent residences. No one can predict or guarantee what will happen should it rain for 40 days and 40 nights. Traffic. The increase in traffic is minimal. This is evident when you look at the previously passed plans to erect 48 living units here in 2006. At that time, the traffic study showed little impact. In 2006, the same property was rezoned from R1 single-family residential to R4 multiple-family residential by this board and the village board. A development was approved for this site for a 30-unit multifamily building to be located in the center of the land surrounded by 18 townhomes. Some of the members of the Plan Commission are still on the current board. What's different with this proposal as opposed to the approved plan? Density. Again, looking at the plan passed in 2006 on this parcel, the Philhaven project is a 50-apartment complex compared to a 30 condominium complex with inside parking surrounded by 18 townhomes. Low income. The 2006 proposal was for an upscale development. This one is for low income. There are several apartment buildings in the area, much bigger and denser than this one are, and are considered low income. So it's not something new introduced into the area. Mentally disturbed tenants. We are, by law, not to take this into consideration, and we're not. I would rather see this complex built somewhere else. However, no matter where it's planned to be built, someone will want it built somewhere else. Considering that this board in 2006 voted for a more dense project on this site, I'm in favor of it with the condition that the 20-year bond be purchased to cover the expense of converting the land bank area to parking and providing for covered parking in the future, or a combination of covered parking now and a bond for future conversion of the land bank area into parking. For these reasons, I see no reason legally or morally for not supporting this variation. And with that, I want to call for a vote on docket number, first I want conditions on docket number 2012-3, which is parking variation.
Number one, that a land bank parking covenant substantially similar to the draft document submitted April 19, 2012 shall be executed and recorded prior to the issuance of a certificate of occupancy for the subject building. Number two, that such covenant prior to consideration by the village board shall include specific language referencing the associated site plan elements such as lighting as illustrated on the plans for docket number PC 1210. And number three, that the covenant include an escrow of $150,000 and that the clause allowing annual withdrawal of interest shall be removed.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made, motion seconded. Please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Fato, seconded by, I believe, Commissioner Steilen. Commissioner Fato, I vote yes. Commissioner Steilen?
No.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban?
No.
Commissioner Schaaf?
No.
And Chairman Maloney?
Yes. The vote is?
4 yes, 3 no, in favor of the variation.
Going on to docket number PC 12-10 and SCBA, and 12-10, appearance approval of the building.
1210.
We're not open for public discussion at this time. If you have something you want to add, we've had 10 hours of public discussion. You'll be told when this is coming up in front of the trustees, and you can make a statement at that time.
Mr. Chairman, the last meeting, our questions went unanswered, and the meeting was tabled until this meeting.
The meeting was not tabled, it was continued. It was continued only for these answers to be brought up. There'll be no more discussion. There'll be no more discussion this evening.
So this is not a public hearing, correct?
It is not. The public hearing ended last meeting.
And our questions went unanswered.
You can go see the trustees. We've had 10 hours of back and forth. I can't even think of another question to be asked.
I can think of 10.
All right, then bring them up to the trustees, and I don't want to hear another word out of you. Thank you.
PC 1210, conditions from the staff report. Number one, petitioner shall provide a subdivision plat adjusting the easement areas as needed to match the current plans rather than the previously approved plan unit development. Number two, that the stormwater release rate for the site shall match the rate listed in the previous stormwater management plan as referenced in the engineering division memos dated February 29th and April 2nd, 2012. Number three, that the minimum unit sizes shall be as follows: 1 bedroom, 765 square feet, 2 bedroom, 980 square feet, and 3 bedroom, 1,168 square feet. Number four, that the plans, specifically the site plan, fence style, grading, and utility plans, be updated in the motion to match the submittal date of April 26th as described in the letter of the same date. And number five, that the covered parking labeled on the site plan is to be constructed only if the variation requested in docket number 2012-3 is denied.
Andrew, a question, the room sizes that you mentioned, were those the original sizes or they were the original sizes?
Now they're back to the original.
Okay, thank you.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Raffato, seconded by Commissioner Johnson. Commissioner Raffato, I vote yes. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaaf?
Yes.
Commissioner Stylen?
Yes.
Chairman Maloney?
Yes. SCBA 12-13, sign appearance. Mr. Jennings.
The condition that was previously suggested in the staff report was addressed in the last submittal, so there's no condition of approval on this.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Please call the roll.
Motion was made by Commissioner Stylen, seconded by Commissioner Dorban. Commissioner Stylen?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban?
Yes.
Commissioner Burns?
Yes.
Commissioner Raffato, I vote yes. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaaf?
Yes.
And Chairman Maloney?
Yes. Still have some paperwork to sign.
All right. Thank you for all of your time.
Good luck.
Do we announce now when we do go to village board, or do we talk about that later?
The projected date is currently May 21st.
Oh, okay.
That is Monday night. For those following along in the audience and at home, the projected date of the hearing is currently May 21st. The projected date of the board discussion on this item is May 21st. We'll be posting the agenda. You can always call the office to ask what the date of that meeting is, but it's currently projected to be May 21st.
Thank you.
So May 21st is when this will come to the village board, and if you get there before the meeting, you can sign up to speak before the meeting on the agenda.
Do you have 6 sheets yet?
No, sir, I don't. Oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry.
Oh.
This was,
No. Yes.
What are you missing?
wait.
Yeah,
Get these
I read
April
that.
12th minutes.
I was going to ask. No.
They were, I didn't see.
I'm sorry, one SCBA?
Yeah.
Is that the contractor number 26? Something at the end.
I mean, to me, they've done everything they can.
Yes.
Yes.
Everything they've been asked to do.
Yes.
Which one?
They're all PDFs, but I mean, it's real nice. Some of the site plan stuff you can zoom in and see.
I use a tablet to see.
I went to 2 sites in Arlington where they're servicing residents with special needs. They weren't similar to this building. They were existing apartments. On Northwest Highway, east of Arlington Heights Road, was one. And then there was one west of
think it's called Salem, west of downtown Arlington Heights. Now the one west of Arlington Heights. One signature the same. Large apartment complex with lots of apartment buildings.
The only thing is being able to,
You type it, right? Like you would literally, I mean,
no, you gotta type it.
You have to type it.
I guess the only thing is you gotta get,
Could be ICS.
Highway is a 6-bar.
you know, in some of our things where
one
you
apartment
have a couple hundred pages of material, you gotta index it really good and always have some place you can go back to easy to get
And Lloyd come to live in the other 5 apartments.
anything.
I still print out documents to review, even though I.
Yes, but you're not going to have a small development on that large piece of land. And it's smaller than
I have to go back to page.
What was approved before.
yeah.
It's a lot less traffic than
Approval of minutes.
would have been with the other
Draft
complex.
findings, Other business.
Every one of those townhomes had a 2-car garage. Had underground parking for the 30 units in the 4-story building. It was going to be a much bigger project.
All I want to do is print out the,
But apparently there was no big turnout of people for this other project that was bigger.
Here's my brother.
It's still more people.
So
Then what's going to be in
not people that need. My printer is a brother printer.
okay.
So it has a scanner on it.
A number of things. I mean, I listen
directly into this, and I can print.
Oh, you put an amp on.
It's the brother. I print.
All right, we all set? Yeah.
Part of my printer, so
Oh,
check your printer.
Calling for approval of minutes of April 12, 2012.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion made, is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded, please call the roll. Oh, no, voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Draft findings for docket number 2012-3 and docket number 2012-5. Do I hear a motion?
These will be finalized. Tonight's item will be added
Well,
to this. So
keep them off?
It should be off.
Well, we don't have to-
They were sent to you for review.
All right.
Just for draft review.
All right.
We just have to review them. We never have to vote on these.
No.
They'll be sent with tonight's minutes.
Yeah.
The findings from the compiled hearings will be sent.
Andrew, we can't hear you
I'm
down
sorry.
here.
The findings from the compiled hearings will be sent out with the approval of the minutes for the April 26th meeting. So all of the findings from the previous meetings will be on, I believe, May 10th is the next Plan Commission meeting.
Yes.
We're asking. Okay.
Sure.
All right, let's go to other business. Commissioner Burns.
No other business, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Johnson.
I just want to thank the responders that came out to our backyard on Tuesday. Everybody did a great job. Unfortunately, they all left when the real work had to get done, but
Even
I
the
appreciate
doctors
their help.
taking pictures?
Yeah, they took a lot of pictures, I know that. Thanks.
Commissioner Raffato.
Just a procedural question on, Phil, we got a whole bunch of like this stuff tonight. Since we've closed the public hearing, could any of this been discussed? I don't know.
In reading it, all of it has been discussed. I read it
I know,
earlier.
right, yeah, it all has been discussed.
Well, there were some little details in here
And
that were implied. I don't know if they were accurate.
Weren't necessarily true.
The Plan Commission, at its discretion, can call someone from the audience who's provided testimony back for additional discussion. So, at its discretion, the commission can, after closing a hearing, call somebody back to ask them about their testimony.
Okay, I wouldn't have done, just for future reference, I would have known that. Okay. That's all I had. And just a comment, Chairman Maloney, this was a very difficult one to get through. I commend you for your patience and throughout this whole thing, and keeping us on the straight and narrow on this one. It was a difficult and emotional hearing the last couple of weeks.
Thank you.
That's it. That's all I had.
Commissioner Dorband.
Well, I have a few. I have some questions about the dental office, about where the utilities are, the one on Milwaukee Avenue. Was the placement of those utilities on the south side of the building there because initially they were approved based on the old building, and now we have a new building, and so that the utilities remain there? Is that why they're located where they are?
You know, I don't know off the top of my head. I'd have to look and see why they are where they are. Oftentimes, that's where the line is. If it's underground, they tap into it at the closest location so that they don't have a run around the building. Some of the utilities can't make a turn at 90 degrees. So if it's on the south side of the building, they would leave it on the south side of the building, would be my guess. I would have to look at it to be 100% sure. But
I just am curious, because as I was there today, it just looks, it's not very attractive, and it does take away from the building itself. The other question is the irrigation system, and as I understand it, because it was the old building, it didn't need to get an irrigation system, but now we have a new building and the irrigation system isn't in place. How do we prevent something like this from happening in the future?
you know, it's a really unique set of circumstances that led to this particular building. You know, I don't know. I think just the reminder on the next most similar project, you know, having reviewed this one, I think the Plan Commission and the board, it would come to mind on the next one. But it is such a really unique set of circumstances that led to it. I don't know with a good degree of certainty how you could go back and you know, use that as a rule to apply to something else. But having been through it once in a bizarre reconstruction that turned into a complete new construction, I think that if anything similar ever happened again, I think that both the commission and the staff would, this would certainly jog all of our memories.
Another thing, I publicly want to thank the fire department for taking out the time to meet with the St. Mary's Brownie Troop, of which my granddaughter is a member. They were very accommodating. They were very nice. They talked with the girls about first aid basics and when it would be appropriate to call 911 and what's a Band-Aid issue and what's a 911 issue. So the fire department was very, very good, and I just want to publicly thank them for that. And, you know, so often we talk about, you know, shop wheeling, using wheeling companies, things like that, but we really don't talk about them. We don't talk about companies that we have, and I realize we can't, quote, recommend them, but it would be nice to have an idea of what kind of companies we have. We really don't talk about them. You know, there's places like Boom that I never heard before. They're a window repair and screen repair. There may be others. There's like Cookies by Joey, there's Suburban Auto, there's Corbrook, there's any number of ones that I'm sure any one of us on the commission, I'm sure the trustees use, but we really don't talk about. And I think that if we're going to support wheeling companies, we need to talk about them. So And when our petitions come in, it's nice to know what they are. So if, in the future, I would really like to see that be part of our docket, that we say exactly what these companies are and what they do. And I think that might go a long way to help them continue growing here. So, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Stylen.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got three things. One kind of dovetails with one of the topics Pam asked about, the irrigation on Northwest Dental. But in general, irrigation is required as part of our code today, and if somebody does not want to install irrigation, do they have to get a variation in order to not comply with that section of the code?
That's a good question. I think what the very few that have gone through it on, I think we've had one new construction that actually did not provide it. And I believe the way it was phrased in the end was a waiver, but it was justified through, they had a series of cisterns that provided some irrigation. They had native plantings on other parts of the site, and they had a unique type of grass that didn't require irrigation. So they came back, excuse me, and the purpose of it, the reason behind it, was specifically for LEED certification points. Out of all the ones we've had, I think that's the only one that actually was new construction where it was waived. And like I said, that one did have.
Well, I think Phil Haven had that special kind of no-mow grass, and they didn't want to install irrigation, etc. Now, do they have to install it, or don't they have to install it?
They do. What they ended up with, the plan that was recommended for approval, has irrigation, with the exception of the rain garden areas. So the note that's being referred now to the village board for their review has irrigation except in the specific spots that are noted as rain gardens.
And in the future, we're going to add that change that will highlight areas where irrigation will be and won't be, just to avoid any.
To show specifically, rather than just have a note. A lot of times the note, as we talked about at the last workshop, the note will just be thrown in at the end of the plant list, and it'll say site to be irrigated.
Okay.
And then the question is always, well, what part of the site? So I think by having some sort of indication when the plan comes to the plan commission, what specifically is being irrigated? Is it the sign? Is it the foundation plantings? Is it the grass? I think that should be helpful to avoid this kind of confusion.
Okay. The other thing, I was over by Fresh Farms today, and I happened to notice a store on the south side, and I believe it was called Professional Optical. Anybody heard of that?
Affordable Optical.
Pardon?
Affordable Optical?
Yeah, and they have, now I don't recall seeing or approving their sign, but it is a great sign. It's formal optical, so the two O's are a pair of glasses that have, the stuff that goes over there. Did the commission approve that?
Yes.
I would really like to recommend that as one of the neatest logo signs that I have seen. That is a real standout, attention-getting sign that I think the commission wanted when they went for that logo concept. So if you guys haven't seen it, it's really neat. The other thing in regards to Fresh Farms, I believe on the 12th, I talked about the fire lane that seems to now authorize standing trucks that can pump smoke and exhaust into the bedroom window of the neighbor's house. And I thought we were looking for a possible alternative designation from a fire lane to maybe some other kind of no parking, no something. Just wonder if anything has been researched on that particular area.
We've had discussions with the shopping center. The shopping center had indicated that they had planned on proposing something, a plan to replace the site plan. We haven't seen that, but they had indicated that they were looking at it as well. So the village has looked at it. The shopping center is still looking at it. I don't know that there's a resolution yet, but the last discussion that staff had with the shopping center was that they were still trying to think of some other designation for it.
Is there anything that the commission can do? I mean, that it was, I believe, Jim, you were here then, and Pam was here, and I think I was the only other commissioner here. It was kind of an agreement between Fresh Farms themselves, Public Works, and the fire department that thought that the fire lane would be the most obvious solution to prohibiting that from happening. And now I guess it's okay to park in a fire lane and keep your engine idling. So the solution didn't quite work.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the village has looked at it. The shopping center is still looking at it, and you know, I don't know that there's a resolution to it yet, but it's an issue that I think everyone's still looking for an appropriate solution on.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have.
Commissioner Schaaf.
Thank you. Last week I brought up this little thing on procedure, and I appreciate the response. I understand that during that meeting, a commissioner can call for reconsideration of the motion, and the next meeting, whether it's, you know, you say it's special, but the next time the Plan Commission meets, you should be able to reconsider. This particular problem, I really didn't want to bring up Phil Haven again. We had talked about it, but that table with permitted use for the residential services, I still think should be a special use, and somehow I would like to recommend to staff that that we consider that. There was talk during the Phil Haven discussion that should be or somewhere along the line should be a special use, and I think that's the part that should be. So if there is a procedure that needs to be clarified for my sake, to change that table from permitted to special, I would sure like to recommend that. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Jennings, Mr. Stylin's subcommittee submitted their findings. I understand the village staff is looking at some of them. Is there any of them that we can start working on that won't conflict with what they're doing? Can you, for the next meeting, go through and come back with some suggestions of things that we can start working on?
Sure, we can take a look. I mean, we have, the one that we have been working on thus far is the sidewalk. The community development has been working with the GIS staff. We created a gap analysis map. We've been working on combining that with a location weighting, as was suggested by the Streetscape Subcommittee. So destination-based map, schools, libraries, parks, etc., that would have a higher concentration of pedestrian traffic. Combining that layer, which we have, with the gap analysis to come up with a preliminary prioritization map. So that's the one that we've been working on thus far, and we can certainly take a look and see if other ones would be good candidates for a future project. But so far, that's where we've been.
I'd like to, because there was a great concern in those meetings about this being put on the shelf and never seeing it again, and we don't want that to happen.
Can I make a comment to that?
Sure.
We have met with the police department again, and On June 17th, they will be doing another bike rodeo. I don't know where it will be, but we have moved on at least with that piece of our recommendations to the board.
So they just announced one in the village paper.
June 17th.
Okay, any other business? Can I please have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
It is kind of early.